Welcome to all. I am Dr.A.Muthumani, Assistant Professor of Commerce, 3S Ramasamy Naidu Memorial College, Sathur, Virudunagar District. In this video, we are going to discuss about the James Walter dividend policy model. The dividend policy is to communicate the information about the firm to its investors and also the public about the profitability, about the earning capacity. According to Walter's model is support the relevant dividend theory concept. That is, his argument is the firm's dividend policy is almost always affect the value of the stock in the stock market. The argument or the main argument between the internal rate of return and cost of capital, that is internal rate of return we denote as small r and the cost of capital we denote as K or KE. The main argument of Walter is the relationship between the internal rate of return and the cost of capital. According to these two concepts, that is internal rate of return and cost of capital, Walters classify the company on the basis of this argument into three categories. First one, growing firm. Growing firm means if the rate of return is greater than the cost of capital, that is R is greater than the cost of capital, that is cost of capital is 10%, internal rate of return R is 15%, then we come to conclusion that firm is said to be a growing firm. So the growing firm, that means the company having the good or attractive investment policy. So here, if the rate of return is greater than the cost of capital, the company retained maximum amount of profit rather than distribute the dividend. Then that firm is called growing firm. Then second concept is declining firm, where rate of return is less than the cost of capital, that is R is 8%, cost of capital is 10%. The given firm is said to be a declining firm, that is the firm does not having a attractive investment policy. Here better the company provide or distribute the maximum amount of dividend to its shareholders rather than retain the earnings. Then the third concept is R is equal to K, that firm is called normal firm, that is cost of capital is equal to rate of return. Here the company distribute either maximum amount of dividend to the shareholders or retain the maximum amount by that company is called normal company. Yes, according to classify the given firm on the basis of growing company or normal company or declining company, the Walters model should follow the following assumption. Follow the assumption. That is, first assumption is the company does not raise new debt or new equity capital. That is, new debt and new equity capital is not raised by the company. Then second assumption is internal rate of return and cost of capital are constant. Then third assumption is all earnings are distributed as dividend or reinvested within a firm immediately. Fourth one, the firm has a long life. Under this assumption, Professor Walter classified the firm on the basis of three categories. Already the three categories are already we discussed in the previous slide. For determining the market price per share, Walters model, the following formula we have to use. That is formula is P is equal to D plus R divided by KE into E minus D divided by KE, where P is equal to prevailing market price of the share, D is equal to dividend per share, E is equal to earning per share, R is equal to rate of return, and then KE is equal to capitalization rate. The practical utility of this formula can be understood with the following example about the Walters dividend policy. Here you see this slide. We are given three companies like A Limited, B Limited and C Limited, and the rate of return, cost of capital, earning per share is also given. We are required to calculate the value of an equity share of each three companies applying Walters formula when dividend payment ratio is, as we are given three options, that is first option is 50%, second option is 75%, third option is 25%. Then also we are required to draw our conclusion also. Here A Limited, you see A Limited, the cost of capital is 10%, internal rate of return is 15%. Here the rate of return is greater than the cost of capital KE. Simply we come to conclusion, better the company retained more amount of earnings rather than distribute dividends. Then second company, that is B Limited, the rate of return is 5%, KE is 10%. So rate of return is less than the cost of capital. The firms comes under the category of declining firm, that is the company does not having an attractive investment policy. Here better the company distribute the maximum amount of dividend to its shareholders or investors rather than retain the earnings by themselves. Then third company, the cost of capital is 10%, KE is 10%, rate of return R is 10%. So more or less rate of return and cost of capital is same. So then they said to be that then the given company or firm is said to be a normal firm. As best the company distribute either maximum amount of dividend to its shareholders or investors or to retain the maximum amount by them. In this video, in this slide, we have to find the value of equity share when the dividend payout ratio is 50%, 75% and 25%. We have to calculate each firm's value of equity share under three options. First option is the dividend payout ratio is 50%, dividend payout ratio is 75%, second option. Third option is dividend payout ratio is 25%. Here A Limited, rate of return is greater than the cost of capital, that is 15% greater than the cost of capital 10%. So we come to conclusion, the company having a attractive investment opportunities and at the same time the company called as growing company. Here according to Walters model is, if the rate of return is greater than the cost of capital, better the company retained maximum number of profit rather than issue of dividend to its investors, then only it will increase the value of share in the stock market. As here you see in the first option, that is payout ratio is 50%, the value of share is 100. Dividend payout ratio is 75%, the value of share is 90, and dividend payout ratio is 25%, the value of share is 110. Yes, according to Walter's model, the growing firm, that is capital rate of return is greater than the cost of capital. Better the company having maximum amount of profit retained by them, then distribute the dividend. Here you see, compare with the three option, the third option, when dividend payout ratio is 25%, the value of equity share is rupees 110. According to the above calculation, the value of share is high, that is rupees 110, when the dividend payout ratio is lowest, that is 25%. In this situation, the company already discussed, the company will be better to retain the earnings rather than distribution of dividend. Then B company or B limited. If the B limited, the rate of return is less than the cost of capital. So the company, simply we come to conclusion, the company is a declining company, that is rate of return is low. So here better the company distribute the maximum amount of profit to the shareholders rather than retain the earnings. Yes, here you see the first option, dividend payout ratio is 50%, the share value is rupees 60. When the dividend payout ratio is 75%, the value of share is 70, rupees 70. Then if the dividend payout ratio is 25%, the value of share is rupees 50. We have to make the comparison between these three options. The second option, that is when the dividend payout ratio is 75%, the value of the share is 70. So according to Walter's model, if the company having a rate of return is less than the cost of capital, the company called declining firm, and also in this situation the company better to distribute the dividend rather than retaining the earnings with itself for maximizing the wealth of the shareholders. Then third company, C Limited. Yes, C Limited, the cost of capital and rate of return is equal. So here rate of return and cost of capital is equal under three options, that is when the dividend payout ratio is 50%, the value of share is 80. When the dividend payout ratio is 75%, the value of share is 80. Then the dividend payout ratio is 25%, the value of share is 80. The company may be defined or identified as a normal firm because the rate of return is equal to cost of capital. Here the dividend payout ratio does not having any impact of the company's share price. So the company, the value of share continues to be rupees 80 in all three situations. Here the company retain the earnings or either retaining the earnings by itself or distribute the dividend to its shareholders. Thank you, students.